Have you ever wondered why certain individuals seem unstoppable while others struggle? The difference isn't luck or talent. It's ritual, quiet, deliberate choices that most overlook, particularly during that crucial first hour after waking. Your morning isn't merely the beginning of your day. It's the foundation of your focus, energy, and direction. Waste that precious hour and you don't just sacrifice time, you surrender power. Ancient philosophers believed the day's first action should embody awareness, discipline, and presence, not chaos, distraction, or perpetual lateness with constant apologies. Yet most drift through life on autopilot, reaching for their phones before their own thoughts, reacting before choosing, consuming before creating. Then they question why they feel anxious, disconnected, or perpetually behind. But what if everything changed tomorrow? What if you stopped treating those first waking moments as meaningless routine and instead approached them as a transformation? Ritual? In this guide, I'll walk you through 10 straightforward yet powerful morning adjustments rooted in timeless wisdom, psychology, and ancient philosophy that can help you wake energized, focused, and completely in control of your life. No exaggeration, no hype, just practical mastery, one morning at a time. Are you ready? 1. Your morning is the first domino. There's a fundamental truth often ignored. How you start your day is how you repeatedly begin your life. Every morning presents a decision point. You can drift into it unconsciously, reacting to noise, stress, and urgency, or step into it with clarity and control. That initial hour, how you rise, think, move, and act, establishes the emotional climate for everything that follows. It's not just routine, it's momentum. And momentum, once established, becomes either your greatest ally or your silent adversary. A prominent performance coach observed, "How you establish your day determines how it concludes." Simple, direct, and absolutely accurate. Begin your day with procrastination, and your mind adopts hesitation as its default state. Begin with chaos, and your thoughts remain scattered. But start with structure, presence, and intention, even briefly, and you begin moving like someone commanding their reality. A renowned philosopher wrote nearly 2 millennia ago about considering what a privilege it is to be alive when you rise in the morning. Before emails, before external demands, you've already received something invaluable: time, breath, choice. If you don't claim those first moments, the world will. Think of your morning as that first domino. Once it falls, everything else starts moving. But here's the crucial insight. You determine the direction. You choose whether that domino tips toward procrastination or productivity, anxiety or clarity, reaction or intention. That single moment, the first 10 minutes after waking, can define your mood, focus, decisions, and self-perception. This doesn't mean your morning must be flawless. It doesn't require an hour of meditation, extensive journaling, or running miles. It simply means choose your first move thoughtfully, because it triggers a chain reaction. When you start strong, even if the rest of your day goes sideways, you'll return to that strength. That's the first domino's power. So tomorrow morning, before checking your phone or even the time, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, what energy do I want to carry into this day? What kind of person am I choosing to be, starting right now? Then act with intention, because your first action isn't merely a task. It's a message to your entire system. This is the life I'm building. This is who I'm becoming. Get out of bed. No snoozing, no excuses. The alarm sounds, and in that moment, half asleep and half aware, you face one of the day's most significant decisions. Do I rise or retreat? It seems trivial. Just 5 more minutes, just one more snooze. But that small act of postponing your day delivers a powerful psychological message. I'm not ready. I don't want to face myself yet. When this message repeats daily, it becomes an avoidance habit, not just of mornings, but of life itself. Hitting. Snooze isn't rest. It's a hesitation ritual. It's the first compromise you make with your potential before sunrise. Over time, these small compromises erode self-trust because deep down, you know every delay in rising is a delay in becoming your ideal self. A renowned motivational speaker stated clearly, "Discipline forms the bridge between goals and accomplishment. That bridge builds one morning at a time." And the first plank? Getting up when you said you would. No negotiation, no internal debate, no drama. Just up. This straightforward act becomes a declaration. I do difficult things. I honor promises. To myself. I show up even when uncomfortable. Here's the deeper truth. The longer you linger between waking and rising, the more room you give fear, fatigue, and self-doubt to take hold. Your brain starts bargaining. Your motivation slips. Your momentum dies. But when you move quickly, when you rise without delay, you cut through resistance before it can speak. A philosopher offers this beautiful perspective. Stop measuring days by productivity degrees and start experiencing them by presence degrees. This isn't about rushing into work or grinding harder. It's about waking with reverence, treating your time as sacred rather than disposable. You get one morning like this, one sunrise, one opportunity to step into the day with presence. Don't trade that for comfort. So here's the practice. When your alarm sounds, sit up, place your feet on the floor, take one breath, and rise. Not just physically, but mentally. You're not simply getting out of bed, you're stepping into leadership over your own life. You're saying, I will not delay my becoming, not today. And if you can win that first battle, if you can meet that initial resistance with movement, the rest of your day begins transforming. Because now you're not just awake, you're awake with purpose. Make your bed start with completion. It's one of the most underestimated habits worldwide, yet might be the one that transforms everything. Make your bed. Not for parents, not for social media, not even for tidiness, but because the first thing you complete each morning shapes how you face the world. It sounds insignificant, almost laughably simple. But don't be deceived. This isn't about sheets or pillows. It's about identity. It's about training yourself to finish what you start, to take ownership of your environment, and by extension, your life. Something powerful happens when you begin the day with a deliberate act of order. When the external world is chaotic and your tasks feel overwhelming, the simple act of making your bed becomes a quiet anchor. It says, I may not control everything, but I control this. That subtle psychological shift is where strength begins. A Stoic philosopher once said, order brings clarity to the mind. Your bedroom, whether you realize it or not, mirrors your mental space. When surroundings are cluttered, disordered, and neglected, it often reflects, or worse, reinforces, similar disarray in your thoughts. But when you bring order to your space, you begin bringing clarity to your inner world. It's not just about visual tidiness, it's about creating peace and direction before the day's noise begins. An ancient thinker reminded us that the beginning is the work's most important part. We tend to think beginnings don't matter. We focus instead on outcomes, major victories, visible achievements. But the truth is, no great accomplishment begins with chaos. It begins with discipline, rhythm, and small, almost invisible rituals, repeated in silence. Consider this. When you wake up and immediately step over an unmade bed, your subconscious absorbs that signal. Something's unfinished. That energy follows you from kitchen to inbox to relationships. But if you wake up and immediately restore order, smooth the sheets, arrange the pillows, create a space that feels calm, you walk out with the subtle confidence of someone who has already completed something. You don't leave the room with chaos behind, you leave with control that matters, and it's not just symbolic, it's neurological. Completing a task, even a simple one, gives your brain a small dopamine reward. That sense of achievement, however minor, boosts momentum. And momentum is everything. Because motivation doesn't create action. Action creates motivation. The earlier you act with intention, the more likely you'll stay in motion throughout your day. Making your bed also establishes self-respect. It says this space matters. I matter. I'm not living reactively, I'm building something, even in the smallest ways. You're not waiting for inspiration. You're starting from discipline, and that changes everything. Some say, why make it if I'm just getting back in later? That's like saying, why clean my kitchen if I'll cook again tomorrow? It's not about whether the action will last. It's about whether you will last, whether you're building habits that reinforce who you want to become. That version of you, the strong one, the focused one, the calm one, doesn't wait for perfect circumstances. They start by managing what they can control. And when life feels like it's falling apart, sometimes making your bed is all you can do. But even then, especially then, it's enough, because it's a statement. I'm still here, I'm still choosing order. I still believe I can create something better, one step at a time. So tomorrow morning, don't rush past it. Don't treat it like a chore. Treat it like meditation, a training ground, a personal promise. Take a few quiet seconds to smooth chaos into calm. Make it beautiful. Not for anyone else, for you. Because your environment reflects your standards, and your standards shape your destiny. And it all begins with the first thing you do. 4. Encourage yourself. High five in the mirror. How often do you greet yourself with encouragement instead of criticism? Most people begin their day checking everything external, messages, news, opinions, tasks, but almost no one stops to check in with the one person they'll spend the entire day with, themselves. This neglect isn't harmless. It accumulates over time, not as dramatic failure, but as quiet erosion. You move through life detached from yourself. Your inner voice grows cold. The mirror becomes a judgment place, not connection. But what if that changed? A well-known coach introduced a powerful idea. Give yourself a high five in the mirror every morning. At first glance, it might seem silly, even awkward. But behind this simple gesture lies a profound truth. You need your own encouragement more than anyone else's. When you high-five someone, you're saying, "You're doing great. Keep going. I believe in you." So why not offer that to yourself, especially at day's start? This isn't just motivational fluff. There's science behind it. When you perform a positive gesture while looking at your reflection, your brain releases dopamine, not from vanity, but because your body associates the gesture with support and success. Over time, that repetition rewires your default state from self-doubt to self-trust. A famous psychologist said it best, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." Every morning when you face the mirror, you're meeting the person who will either follow through or fall short. And instead of shaming that person, what if you empowered them? What if before the world judged you, you greeted yourself with confidence? Most people spend their entire day seeking validation. They wait for compliments, likes, kind words, and if none come, they carry emptiness. But when you start by giving yourself that validation, no permission, no waiting, you become less dependent on external noise. You move through your day more anchored, less reactive, more grounded in your own worth. A performance expert puts it simply, you deserve a moment of celebration just for showing up. And isn't that the truth? Life is hard. You're carrying things no one sees, fighting battles no one applauds. And yet, here you are, waking up, trying again. That deserves recognition, even if just from your reflection. So tomorrow, try this. After making your bed and before touching your phone, walk to the mirror, stand tall, look yourself in the eye and give yourself a high five. Not with sarcasm or shame, but with sincerity. Let it feel strange, let it feel vulnerable. That's how you know it matters. That mirror isn't just glass, it's a gateway, and how you greet yourself through it can transform how you navigate the day ahead. You don't need perfect self-esteem. You just need to stop being your own enemy. You need to treat yourself like someone worth supporting, because you are. And if you can start your day by encouraging yourself, even slightly, you'll notice something powerful. You'll stop needing the world to do it for you. 5. Don't touch your phone. Protect your energy. What's the first thing your hands reach for each morning? For most, it's not water. It's not their breath. It's not even their thoughts. It's their phone, that glowing portal to the world's noise. Before their feet touch the floor, they've already opened gates to messages, notifications, opinions, and other people's urgencies. Here's an untold truth. Every time you check your phone first thing in the morning, you're surrendering your mind before even claiming it. You weren't designed to wake up and immediately react. Your nervous system isn't built for it. The moment you unlock your screen, your body shifts into response mode. Your dopamine levels spike. Your attention fragments. Without realizing it, your morning, the most sacred, quiet, powerful part of your day, is hijacked. A philosopher reminds us that freedom is the only worthy goal, One, by disregarding things beyond your control. When checking your phone before checking in with yourself, you're surrendering that freedom. You're letting your peace be dictated by headlines, alerts, or someone else's chaos. That's not presence. That's imprisonment. There's a reason ancient wisdom always begins with silence, stillness, breath. Because your first thoughts shape your perspective, your first words become your tone, and your first interactions determine your emotional foundation. If the first thing you see is bad news or social media comparison traps, don't be surprised if anxiety accompanies you all day. An Eastern philosopher said with piercing clarity, "Care about what others think, and you'll always be their prisoner." This applies not just to ego, but to attention. If your first morning act is to scroll, compare, consume, chase, you've already placed your energy in others' hands. You've locked yourself into their rhythm, expectations, drama, but it doesn't have to be this way. Imagine waking up and simply being with yourself. No buzzing, no pings, no dopamine loop, just presence, just breath, just you. That space isn't empty, it's powerful. It's where intuition speaks, peace grows, priorities surface. The more you protect that space, the more resilient and focused you become throughout the day. So here's the practice. Put your phone in another room at night, or at minimum, not within arm's reach. When you wake, sit in stillness for just 2 minutes. Drink water, breathe, stretch, make your bed, look outside. Say something kind to yourself, and then, if truly necessary, check your phone, not as reflex, but as choice. This boundary might seem small, but it changes everything, because it teaches you that your attention is sacred. Your energy isn't for sale, and you aren't a machine built to consume. You're a human being built to create, feel, and move with purpose. Remember, your phone can wait, but your mind, your life cannot. Move your body and mind for 10 minutes. Your mind isn't fully awake until your body is, and your body won't move purposefully unless your mind tells it why. Most people start their day in friction, not because their life is chaotic, but because their body and mind are disconnected. They open their eyes but don't move. They sit still while thoughts race, then wonder why motivation eludes them, why clarity seems distant. Here's the truth. Motion is medicine. You don't need a 5-mile sunrise run. You don't need an hour of meditation or a gym membership. You need 10 minutes, just 10 of deliberate present movement. When that movement aligns with mindfulness, something powerful happens. Your physiology and psychology begin cooperating. Energy rises, thoughts slow, presence returns. A philosopher once said, "All truly great thoughts are conceived while walking." He understood what most forget. Thinking clearly doesn't happen hunched over your phone or trapped in your head. It happens when feet move, lungs expand, blood circulates. Your body isn't a separate machine. It's your mind's partner. The moment you treat it that way, everything shifts. You might not realize this, but emotions are deeply physical. Anxiety often traps in the chest. Anger manifests as jaw or fist tension. Sadness weighs behind eyes or shoulders. Yet instead of moving through these emotions, we sit with them. We scroll, we numb, we overthink. But a mindfulness teacher offered another path. Walk as if you were kissing the earth with your feet. That's not just poetic, it's powerful. It's about intentional motion. It's about awakening the body with reverence and grace. When you move, even just walking around the block, stretching for minutes, taking conscious breaths while standing at the window, you're not just exercising. You're deciding, I will not start this day disconnected. I will not live only in my head. That decision becomes habit. That habit becomes identity. There's also discipline here, because some mornings you won't want to move. You'll feel too tired, busy, distracted, but that's precisely when you need it most. Movement isn't just about fitness, it's about state change, breaking inertia, and reactivating vitality. So tomorrow, before the rush begins, move. Walk slowly, mindfully. Breathe deeply. Roll your shoulders, touch your toes. Do push-ups, yoga, or dance to a favorite song. Whatever it is, make it yours and make it matter. Because when your body awakens, your mind can focus. When your mind calms, your decisions become intentional. And when your day starts with even one act connecting thoughts and movement, you reclaim your rhythm. It's not about doing more, It's about remembering you aren't separate from your energy. You generate it. 7. Practice simple promises daily. What if the most powerful form of self-respect wasn't built through massive goals but through tiny promises, kept quietly, consistently, when nobody watches? We often believe transformation requires something dramatic, a 5 a.m. wake-up, complete lifestyle overhaul, radical diet change, schedule restructuring, identity reinvention. But in reality, greatness doesn't come from intensity. It comes from consistency, doing small things, especially when they're no longer exciting, when motivation fades, when nobody's there to applaud you. A philosopher put it simply, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. That means who you're becoming isn't a mystery. It's not waiting for future revelation. It's forming now in today's choices, in the rituals you honor, in the simple promises you keep. Think of it like this. Every morning gives you a blank page. Every action you take is a word, a sentence, a decision in the story of who you're becoming. You don't need to write the entire book today, but you do need to write something meaningful, even if small. Wake up on time. Make your bed. Stretch for 5 minutes. Avoid that toxic habit. Drink water. Speak kindly to yourself. These aren't minor acts, they're your self-trust building blocks. And self-trust is everything. Every time you keep a self-promise, you signal, I can count on me. That message accumulates, growing into confidence, discipline, inner strength. But every time you break that promise, even small ones, you chip away at that trust. You reinforce the idea that your word isn't sacred, that what you tell yourself doesn't matter. That's where disconnection begins. A performance coach said, simple promises make you more you. That's this practice's beauty. It doesn't demand becoming someone else. It asks you to return to who you already are beneath procrastination and self-doubt. It invites you to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start honoring your word, one small act at a time. There's something profoundly philosophical about this. Ancient thinkers didn't believe in spectacle. They believed in principle, virtue, showing up as a life student every day in every choice. You don't need perfection. You need commitment. Commitment to aligning actions with values even when difficult. Especially when difficult. So here's the challenge. Choose one daily promise, just one, not 5, not 10, one, something so simple you can't excuse it. Then do it, not because someone's watching, not because it makes you feel productive, but because it's who you said you'd be. Over time. That daily promise becomes ritual. That ritual becomes identity. And that identity, that's the foundation of a strong life, built not overnight but brick by brick, in silence, with intention. Because, ultimately, success isn't about quantity accomplished. It's about how often you kept your word. 8. Create for yourself before consuming others. A quiet battle happens every morning between what you want to build and what the world wants to feed you. Upon waking, you choose. Begin by creating something for yourself. A thought, plan, moment of clarity, or immediately surrender your attention to someone else's voice, urgency, life. Most consume before creating. They scroll before reflecting. They check emails before checking in with themselves. Slowly, almost invisibly, they begin living reactively. They lose the morning's magic, that purest, clearest time, filling it with noise, not because they lack dreams, but because they're too distracted to remember them. But imagine this instead. Before the world gets a piece of you, you give something to yourself. 5 minutes journaling, 10 minutes writing, a simple drawing, a short reflection, an idea, a sketch, a day plan. Something, anything, reminding you that you're not just a consumer, but a creator. A motivational expert said, either you run the day or the day runs you. That begins with what you do first. The world constantly pulls your attention outward. But greatness, purpose, clarity, they're born inward first. They begin in silence, in the space before noise. Ancient philosophers knew this. One wrote, life is long if you know how to use it, but most never learn. They give their best hours to everyone else. They start mornings absorbing opinions, news, drama, then wonder why they feel drained by noon. But when you create before consuming, you flip. The pattern. You lead, you decide. You reclaim your most sacred resource, your attention. This doesn't mean writing a book every morning. It doesn't mean meditating like a monk or painting like a master. It means doing something, however small, that belongs to you. Something moving you forward even slightly. Something reflecting who you are and who you're becoming. Because when you begin your day expressing rather than absorbing, you shape your identity instead of borrowing someone else's. You step into alignment instead of reacting. You grow your inner world before the outer world tries defining it for you. So here's the invitation. Tomorrow morning, resist opening apps. Instead, open a notebook, blank screen, breath, a space that's yours. Write one sentence, sketch one vision, speak one intention aloud. Not for algorithms or applause, for you, because when you give to yourself first, the rest of the day reflects that self-worth. Progress beats perfection. Move the ball. Daily. What if your breakthrough wasn't waiting atop a mountain, but hidden in today's small, imperfect step? Most never advance because they await the perfect moment, plan, energy, motivation, but that perfection never comes. In its place grows doubt, hesitation, and quiet guilt, the kind from knowing you could have acted, but didn't. The truth is, greatness rarely builds in leaps. It builds in inches, in small, consistent, sometimes invisible movements. The kind nobody applauds, nobody sees. It's built in showing up repeatedly when boring, hard, seemingly ineffective. Because momentum outpowers motivation, and progress, however small, always outvalues perfect planning without action. Research confirms this. A Harvard Business School study identified the progress principle. The single biggest driver of motivation and satisfaction in work and life isn't massive success. It's daily progress on meaningful goals, not arrival, applause, or recognition, just movement. A philosopher echoed this truth profoundly. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. If your why is strong, if you remember who you want to become, you don't need perfect conditions, you just need forward motion. 1 inch, 1 repetition, 1 page, 1 act of courage. That's it. Yet we resist. We think if it's not excellent, it's worthless. But that belief is the enemy. It paralyzes us. It whispers, if not perfect, don't try. But wise teachers would disagree. They'd remind you that virtue forges in daily effort, that character builds in repetition, that the only thing you control is your willingness to act, not how flawlessly you perform. So what means moving the ball daily? It means progressing even when unprepared. Writing one paragraph when your mind avoids the whole project. Choosing a healthy meal when defaulting to junk would be easier. Saying no when you usually please others. Practicing your craft for 10 minutes when nobody watches. Following through on yesterday's difficult self-promise. These aren't small things, these are everything. Because every action votes for the person you're becoming. And the more votes you cast, even small ones, the stronger your identity grows. That's how confidence builds. That's how transformation begins. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. They don't exist. You don't need everything figured out. You just need something today proving you're moving, that you haven't abandoned yourself, that you still believe in the person you're building. So remember, the work needn't be perfect. It just needs completion today, then again tomorrow, and the next day. That's how empires build. That's how character carves. That's how your future self materializes. 10. Your morning routine is who you're becoming. A quiet truth hides in plain sight. Your future is happening now. It's not some distant event. It's building choice by choice, breath by breath, morning by morning. We love imagining transformation arrives suddenly, that one day we'll wake focused, confident, controlled. But reality is simpler and more sobering. You're becoming someone right now, every morning, in silence, in repetition, in rituals, either chosen or neglected. A philosopher reminded us, the future is a concept, it doesn't exist. Yet we live as if our best self waits at the end of some big event, success or turning point, but no moment exceeds this one. Real transformation begins when you stop outsourcing growth to the future and realize it's happening whenever you choose. Presence over distraction, discipline over delay, intention over autopilot. A Stoic teacher said, "First tell yourself what you would be, then do what you must do." That's the blueprint. Not motivational slogans or perfect plans, but honest clarity. Who do I want to be? Then what would that version of me do right now at 6 a.m. before the world opens its eyes? Your morning routine isn't just tasks. It's a rehearsal for the life you're building. It's when you're least interrupted, least influenced by others, most in control. What you do in that window matters more than you know. It defines your rhythm. It shapes your emotions. It conditions your identity. You either start as your day's leader or its victim. There's no middle ground. If you begin hitting snooze, grabbing your phone, rushing, reacting, you're programming yourself to live passively. But if you begin with even the smallest act of clarity, movement, reflection, or creation, you're programming yourself to lead, not with noise, but consistency. And most powerfully, no one needs to see it. You needn't post, share, or prove it. You just live it, quietly, repeatedly, because the version of you that feels confident, clear, and capable doesn't arrive by chance. They build through habit, repetition, mornings. So the final question, what kind of person are you becoming at sunrise? Are you rushing through life half awake, pulled by others' demands? Or are you anchoring into yourself, choosing discipline, presence, and direction before the world knocks? The answer isn't in your words, it's in your routine. And beautifully, you need no permission. You needn't have everything together. You just need purpose tomorrow morning, because the person you want to become isn't far away. They're on the farther side of your next step. Now you know your life doesn't change in some distant future. It changes tomorrow morning in darkness, silence, small unseen decisions. That's where strength births, in making your bed when nobody watches, in rising with discipline when comfort beckons, in encouraging yourself before anyone else does, in choosing breath over screen, peace over pace, focus over fear. You don't need a perfect plan. You need consistent beginnings. Because when your morning fills with intention, your day follows. And when days align, weeks shift, habits sharpen, identity strengthens. Your life slowly, quietly, powerfully begins reflecting the person you always knew you could be. This isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. About becoming someone whose actions match their vision, whose day's first hour becomes a sacred contract with their future self. A daily reminder, I'm not drifting. I'm choosing. I'm becoming. So tomorrow, don't just wake up, rise. Don't just react, lead. Don't just plan the life you want. Live it, one morning at a time. If this guide helped you see your routine differently, subscribe. Share it with someone ready to rise with intention. And tell us in the comments, what's the first promise you'll keep tomorrow morning? The world may be chaotic, but your morning, that's yours.